for my dream, cause nobody else could see. I was no one to turn to somebody. With just a little faith, there's nothing I can't achieve. Yeah, I was going, if I could be anybody, I wanna be me. Yeah, I just wanna be.
So I'm Jon Hollabird up here in Advocacy County, little old Caribou, Maine. Born and raised, and I recover loud.
Hi everyone, welcome to Recover Loud, presented to you by Recovery on the Road. In our small hometown in northern Maine, we had never heard anyone talk about recovery. The recovery programs were as much a mystery to me as the Freemasons. I didn't know anybody in recovery. I didn't know where any of the meetings were, and I didn't know how to become a member. Today, we recover loud so that no one has to wonder if recovery is possible. Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm grateful to be in recovery. Today, I get to be a father, a husband, a son, a brother, and a friend. I'm a college student studying criminal justice online. I currently work as a registered Maine peer recovery coach, as well as sitting on the board of directors for a local nonprofit. I'm the co-founder of Recovery on the Road and co-creator of this show, Recover Loud. You can read my personal story in the book, God Loves Addicts Too, as well as in the latest issue of Journey magazine. Welcome back to Recover Loud, presented by Recovery on the Road. We're here tonight with Jon Hollabird from Caribou. Welcome, Jon. Glad to see you. So, Jon, we knew each other way back when, when things were still a mess. And then one day I came to the Redemption Center and I saw you working and you said, I'm in recovery. And I kind of smirked. And I left that day and it didn't really register. But you were the first one in Caribou to ever mention recovery to me. And I thank you for that. So how did you get to that point that day at the Redemption Center when I saw you? What happened leading up to that point?
Well, there's a lot there. I've been addicted since 12 or 13 years old. And before that, I even showed a bunch of addictive personalities. I was always a center of attention, not comfortable in my own skin, looking for attention from people. It wasn't healthy, all that stuff. In high school, I was always the center of attention, usually end up in my underwear on top of the hood of a car, hollering to some AC/DC somewhere out in the field somewhere. That's who I was. I thrived on that reputation of a badass. And I really wasn't. I was a really soft-hearted feller, but I hardened my heart for a lot of years. Going fast forward and through high school, middle school, I overdosed in 6th grade for the first time on Coricidin. Ended up in the hospital, stomach pump, the whole 9 yards. That was like 13 or 14 years old. So I rolled with that reputation for my whole life. I come out in the streets of Caribou trying to be an adult. Got a girl pregnant, thought I would do the right thing, white picket fence, the whole 9 yards, bought a house, end up still using the whole time, and then once he was born, the pressure was on and my using took off because I couldn't handle the pressure really. I was still trying to fit in where I didn't belong. So I got the DEA set me up on a wire buy twice in 2 days. Once was in a school zone. So, I got a class A, a class B, got bailed out. My parents bailed me out. I ran the roads for like another 8 months, but my case was coming up soon. I needed a lawyer. I thought I'd, go make one more spin and fund a lawyer. I ended up down in Bangor with a couple that I met that was, getting a load in, and I was going to bring it up north and make my coin. And, I end up with a, non-registered, uninsured, uninspected, headlight out, borrowed a car from some woman, promised her this, promised her that when I got back, got the car, went down there. Of course, I made it down there fine, got to the place I was going, filled the trunk full of dope and guns and pulled out of there. And, I didn't make another 2 blocks after that once I was loaded up and the blue lights came on. But to me, that's God's grace. Today, I can recognize that as God's grace because, them blue lights are the final kicker that saved my life. I ended up in Penobscot County Jail. I did about 8 months. And I also had the charges up here in the county. So I was kind of jumping back and forth, but Penobscot had some kind of legality rule or technicality thing. They wouldn't furlough for rehabs. So I was trying to get into Lewiston, the St. Francis house. I had been there once before in 2015, and I knew it was a good program. I knew they really cared about the people. They really wanted to see them clean, and that's where I wanted to be. So I ended up in the cell, wanting to get out, driving myself nuts in these walls. A kid comes in and out, in and out, in and out. And I said, dude, how the hell are you getting out of here? Coming back like that. He's like, I'll fill out a request form, go see the chaplain. I'm like, I didn't even know what a chaplain was, dude. I really didn't even know the definition of it, but I didn't give a shit. I just wanted out of that room. So I filled out the request form, and I probably even asked him how to spell chaplain. So a couple hours later, they says, Hollabird chaplain. I'm like, all right, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm going to do, but let's go do it. So I walked down and I ended up walking in the room. Guy's holding a Bible. I'm like, oh shit, shit's getting real now. This guy's got the good book, Right. So he, I tell him a little bit about my story. Of course, I was 119 pounds. I had a, 50 cent piece sore on my face, long hair, dripping sweat. Oh, dude, it was a disaster. I was a complete wreck. And actually, my lawyer wouldn't even show me the police video of my arrest because he said, you'll never outlive it. You know what I mean? You'll never outlive that shame, because I was just a wreck, yelling, swearing, hitting my head off the window. It's just a disaster. Not who I was, Right. And so the chaplain read me a verse called James 1:8, and it said, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And I never related that to God. I wasn't even thinking about God or Jesus at the time. I just remember hearing double-minded and thinking, wow, dude, that's what's kept me using this whole time. I've always had one foot in and one foot out, and this time, if I really want change, I'm going to have both feet in on the good side. I'm going to have both foot in on the clean side. There ain't no hitting a joint. There ain't no sipping a Budweiser. There ain't no nothing for me, because I know where it ends up. It's the weirdest thing. I drink a beer. Next thing you know, I'm in the parking lot snorting meth. I don't know how it works, but it works like that. So, I got out of there and started doing the AANA thing, surrounded myself by a really good group, surrounded myself with winners, and I took off, man. I just started thriving for recovery. I started seeing people get healthy, and, I was just loving every minute of it. So I stuck with it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're all grateful that you did. So what kinds of things are you doing today for the recovery community in Caribou?
So today, you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like the most important role I play is an open phone line. I mean, anybody that's sick or struggling, they know that I'm pretty laid back. They can call me with a needle in their arm, and I'm not going to say you're a junkie with a needle in your arm. You know what I mean? I'm going to say, what do we got to do to get that needle out of your arm forever? What's the first baby step you need to take to make yourself right with yourself in order to feel worth it? You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. You don't feel worth it. You don't feel like there's no door out. There's no, you're stuck in the four walls and you'll never get out. Well, listen, I'm here to tell you there's a way out. And if it takes you being drugged by me and that's what you want, I'm willing to drag you. But, you get a call, you got to reach out, So I'm an open phone line for anybody that wants to call. I'm also a chair of a grassroots community group called Recovery Rustic. What we do is we try to add resources or advertise resources. We set up tables at like the Thursday night on Sweden streets. It's like a street dance thing. We do craft fairs. We do whatever organization will allow us to come in with the word recovery on it. I'm also very involved with opening the sober houses. My father-in-law's, my wife is also in recovery, and my father-in-law is really passionate about it because he watched his daughter walk through it. And, he said, let's open some houses. So we started thinking and beating around the idea. So we ended up buying this old condemned house and remodeling it, opened the men's house. The demand was so great, dude. I mean, it was a revolving door at first. We had a lot of people in and out, relapse in and out, but we knew that need was there. So, our next ambition was to open a female house, and we've talked ambitions about a detox up here because, there's 100+ sober houses in the state of Maine, and we had nothing in Aroostook County, and I mean nothing, dude. We had people like fighting us about zoning laws and everything else to even get a recovery house, and it's pretty ridiculous that these people don't even want to see these people get better. It's like they just wanted to write them off. So we ended up battling a few little battles, but we're on the upside now, man. We're starting to build some stuff. We got a recovery center through AMHC, and we got a men's house open. It's full capacity right now. We just opened a women's house there not too long ago. They got a couple people that are taking more clients at the first of the year. We still got some renovations to do. So, but yeah, man, we're on our way. We could definitely get a long ways to go, but we're working at it, chipping away at it.
Yeah, that's great stuff. That women's house, did you tell me, do they accept women with children?
Right now we're not at that capability right now, but after the renovations are complete, I do believe we'll have one suite that'll allow the women and the child. With the woman and the child, we're trying to keep them completely separate from the other house, not isolated, but we don't want the other tenants around the child, depending on what the mother wants the child exposed to. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's a touchy area, but yes, we're definitely shooting to be able to have a mother and child or women and kids there. Yes.
Yeah.
That's one hoop a mother would have to jump through and try to de-shame herself, without her kids. That's another term of her life that she's got to live clean with no kids. That ain't right, man. So let's all recover together. Let's see the whole family recover together.
Yeah, and as addicts, we see a lot of barriers to recovery.
That's it. Yep.
We need to find the right time. We need to make sure that we've got things lined up. We've got to make sure that our kids are taken care of, our pets are taken care of. We
Yep.
always have excuses why we can't recover. What are some of
Yeah.
the barriers that you've seen up in the county?
Like I said, when I first got sober, dude, there was nothing but barriers. Honesty was actually a real killer back then. As soon as you got honest, that's when the stigma set in, and nobody really wanted to help you. I could have said I was a psychiatric patient, and I probably would have had help. But if I would have said I was, addicted to bath salts and methamphetamine, I was just a low life that they were willing to write off. But I mean, a lot of that's changed. We do have some resources now. I mean, AMHC's opened up a lot. We got the recovery center. We got recovery of Rustic, and more or less we got a group of people that's willing to listen. We got a group of people that's willing to, buy you a phone card so you can have a phone to reach out. We got, a lot of church groups, man. I'm part of this Fortress church group. They're willing to get boots on the ground and help out. The Caribou Assembly of God's been doing a lot of donational stuff, resource stuff to get a van. They've been picking people up. As far as barriers today, I still see some stigma. I mean, there's still a lot of, there's a Caribou Citizens Outreach page that if you mention addiction on there, recovery, dude, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They say, oh, it's not a place for that. Well, it is a place for that because it's Caribou Citizens Outreach. I am a citizen of Caribou who needed outreach, and I just didn't have it. But, I think today, if I were to try to get sober again, it'd probably be a lot easier path, probably a lot less abrasive. But back when I did it in 2016, man, it wasn't happening. I had to be incarcerated.
Yeah. And, I entered recovery in 2018, and, I had those same barriers. I didn't know any recovery. I didn't know where the meetings were held. And I didn't know how to do it. So I'm glad that you're doing something today to help bring people to recovery. And by Recovering Loud, that's what we do. People are aware of programs that weren't there before. I believe in Presque Isle, they just opened up a methadone clinic.
They did, yeah, a new clinic, yep. And they're real busy, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, and we support all pathways to recovery.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's religious, whether it's 12-step, whether it's methadone, MAT, whatever it takes to get away from that substance that was killing us.
Or all of the above.
Or all of the above.
That's like for me when I talk to people, like I can kind of get a read on them, and like I don't try to judge them, but I can tell you, like, listen, my story is not going to do it for you, but my story and Mike's story might do it for you, or my story, Mike's story, his wife's story, my wife's story. I might need 9 of you guys, but by keeping my feelers out there and recovering loud and knowing that I'm a part of that, or me knowing you guys are a part of that, then listen, man, we can just power in numbers, man, and with different resources, different paths that we did. We can explain this path, that path, this drug of choice, that drug of choice. You can kill that excuse and knock that excuse out, because you know what I mean. We've all done it, and this is how it is.
Yeah, and that's the basis of Recovering Loud is, just we didn't do anything special. We're not special people because we got out. We found a way and we put in the work. And today we refuse to give up the life that we're building.
Yeah, after like 14 months when I came home from jail, my parents wanted to throw me a party, and I'm like, I'm not coming home from Harvard.
Right.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't be a party event, man. I just want to come home and keep my head down and keep going the way I'm going. I start getting all crazy, and I'll end up at the dealer's house in no time. No parties for me.
So what kind of life have you built yourself today in recovery?
Well, currently I'm sitting in my son's bedroom. He's with my parents tonight, but yeah, my son's got his own bedroom. That's one of the little things I would have never been able to accomplish. So I started out when I got out working for my brother at the Redemption Center, like you mentioned, and he had owned another one. And he said, "Listen, man, I got a baby on the way. My life's getting crazy. I don't really need two." He's like, "If you want to put a 5-year plan down there, we can, in 5 years, we'll see if we can't get you an owner." I said, "All right." So after about 2 years, I was just, beat up, making the same money, and I was starting to plateau with my recovery. AA and NA was, it was all good. I was surrounded with a good network, but the anonymous thing was a killer for me. I like to be loud. I like to be, I was proud of what I was doing. You know what I mean? And if I had to be anonymous, then nobody could know I was doing it. I couldn't help anybody. You know what I mean? So I felt restricted. I don't know. So anyways, I went to NMDC, Northern Maine Development Committee, and I pitched a gig, and I pitched them my story is what I pitched them. I told them right out front, this is where I'm at. I got multiple felonies. A minimum wage job for me is not going to cut it because that's not where I want to be in life. You know what I mean? I'm looking to get married, can't afford the wedding. After marriage comes kids. Listen, I need money. I need a good career. So, I need a few $1,000s. And believe it or not, man, they took a chance on me and they approved me for that loan. So my 5-year plan ultimately turned into a 2-year plan. And I signed the paperwork last year. And so this year, I'll be a business owner for the first year. Things are going good. Money's good. Bills are paid. I just had a daughter. She was in the NICU for a little while. She's now, dude, almost 6 months old, 18 pounds, healthy and loud, just like her father. My 11-year-old boy, he's playing athletics. Dude, he's got some promise in athletics. He's a superstar athlete, super smart. Grades are good. We hit some bumps in the roads because he was around for my whole addiction, so there's some recovery still need to be made with him. But, for the most part, he looks up to me like God, dude. And, that's amazing. Besides that, it's just everyday things, man. Tonight I went out and snow blowed my driveway so my wife can get in and out of the house. My 2 nieces live with me, my sister-in-law. We all live together in a big old house. So it's a tight knit family thing, and it's an amazing life I live today. And it's the small things, man. It's the day-to-day stuff. My son called me, "Dad, can I go to the rec after school and play basketball?" Stuff like that. I was never the guy to have any type of say in that. I wasn't responsible enough to have any say in any of that stuff. Today I decide, what we're going to do for dinner. I mean, I decide what bills we're going to pay this month and maybe hold off on next week. You know what I mean? It's the little things, man.
Yeah. We get to live the life that,
Yep.
we saved,
Yep.
I always say that I'm building a life today that I don't want to give to the kid down the road because he doesn't deserve my life.
Right.
I want to live this life. So that's why I continue in recovery. And ending the stigma. The reason I do that is so that I can go further,
Yep.
and if I can do it for somebody else, that's the idea. So
listen, it ain't easy, man. I'm almost 5 years into this, and just last week, some high school kid knew my reputation and approached my 11-year-old kid and offered him some weed. And my kid said, it's not cool to smoke weed. And the kid said, yeah, your dad's just a drug addict. You know what I mean? So he come home all upset. "Dad, you got to do something about this." No, I don't have to do anything about that. You know what I mean? Because Hayden, and I know, you know what I mean? I'm not a drug addict no more. That doesn't define me, who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do recover. And, it's good that your son can do that. Recovery is a family affair.
Amen.
I raised my kids through my addiction. My daughter was 16 before she ever met me sober. And I'm proud today to be able to be, present for them, just like you are for your kids. So,
amen, brother.
And that's the life. That's what we live for. This is the life we get to choose to live now. And, I'm proud of you for choosing recovery. Thank you for recovering loud and, sharing hope for others in my old hometown.
Hey, man, thanks for all you're doing down there.
Not everyone can enjoy the holiday season. Family gatherings can often become toxic and cause even more trauma. Having an exit plan before you go out is a great way to avoid falling backwards. Here are a few things you can do if your safety is in jeopardy. You can always avoid the gathering altogether. Trust yourself. You know your limits. You can plan your reason ahead of time. Having a story at the ready is better than coming up with something on the fly. If at all possible, don't go alone. You can also use your partner as an excuse if you need to leave early. They can also help identify a triggering situation. If you need to, slip out the back door. It's much better to explain why you left the next day than why you have to leave when you're there. Announce your intended early departure at the beginning. Tell people you don't plan to stay long, and then if everything goes well, you get to stay longer. Always have somebody on standby. If you think you might need somebody to talk to, give them a heads up before you go out. Most people would be happy to take your call and talk you down out of a situation. There are many other things you can do, but whatever you do this holiday season, please stay safe and have a happy holiday, everybody. I'd like to speak to you tonight a little bit about Maine's Good Samaritan law. This law prevents a person from being arrested or prosecuted for certain violations if the grounds for that arrest or prosecution result from the person experiencing a drug-related overdose or seeking medical assistance for someone who is. Please join us and our partners in trying to effect change in this law. We need to expand the protections for people, as well as the number of people. We strongly believe that everybody should carry Narcan. Whether you use or not, or know someone who does, you never know when you might come across a situation where somebody's life is in jeopardy. Having this life-saving medication can make all the difference. There needs to be no reason for someone not to call 911 for an overdose. You can email me or join our group, Recovery on the Road, to find out how you can help and get involved. We strongly feel that everybody should be trained in carrying Narcan. You never know when you might come across a situation where this life-saving medication can make the difference. First, dial 911. You don't have to tell them that someone has overdosed. Tell them that your friend is unresponsive and that you're assisting. Next, give 2 rescue breaths and then administer naloxone. It's always good to wait 2 to 3 minutes between doses, but if necessary, you can always give rescue breaths until help arrives. If you or someone you know is at risk of an opiate-related overdose, please carry Narcan. If you don't know anyone at risk, you can still carry Narcan. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on our first episode of Recover Loud. We look forward to seeing you next time, bringing you more guests to tell you more stories and share more resources and information. Please stay safe out there.
Like snort.
Every time I call, you pick up the phone, and always reminding me that I'm not alone, and even when I'm scared and my feet are frozen, you help me keep it going like a semicolon. So I'ma follow your steps for all of the way. I put my faith in you and walk on the waves, and if I stumble a bit and fall on my face, you come and save me with all of your grace. Yeah, thank God.